Enough thinking. You've stared at Zillow for hours. You've scrolled through every listing photo in Virginia Beach, but none of those pictures show you the bridge tunnel. That's about to destroy your morning routine. You found a house that looks perfect. The map says it's only 12 miles from the gate. You're thinking, great, that's a 15-minute drive. In most parts of the country, you'd be right. But here in Hampton Roads, miles do not equal minutes. In this area, 10 miles can easily turn into a 60-minute commute, or a nightmare if you're on the wrong side of the bridge or a tunnel. I'm going to save you from the most expensive mistake military families make when they are PCSing here, choosing a home based on a photo without understanding the 7x7 commute. Hey, I'm Megan Luker, and I'm a military wife, a mom, and I PCSed here to Virginia Beach over 35 years ago. Since then, I've helped hundreds of military families successfully relocate all over Hampton Roads. Here's the philosophy I live by. I believe real estate should be built on trust, transparency, and showing up on time with the right strategy so my clients feel protected, empowered, and confident at every step. And I'll tell you this straight, commuting logistics here are not a side note. They're the whole game. Today, we're breaking down the real-life routes to Naval Station Norfolk, NAS Oceana, JEB Little Creek, Fort Story, plus a Portsmouth secret that can save you thousands. Let's start with the most important rule for moving to this area. Live on the side of the water where you work. Our region is divided by the Chesapeake Bay and the Elizabeth River, and it's connected by a system of bridge tunnels. The most famous is the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel. If you're working on the peninsula, but you want to live in Virginia Beach, you are signing up for a battle every single day. Construction is massive and ongoing, and one minor fender bender in the tunnel creates a ripple effect that can back up traffic for miles. If your command is on the peninsula, live on the peninsula. Don't try to beat the tunnel. The tunnel always wins. Now let's talk about each base, because this is where people get it wrong. Naval Station Norfolk is what I call Spaghetti Junction. I-64 and I-264 collide, plus gate traffic that feels like its own separate mission. If you live in Kempsville or Central Virginia Beach, it's usually manageable 20 to 30 minutes. If you choose the oceanfront lifestyle, you're realistically looking at a 45-minute commute or more. And here's what newcomers miss. If you're not through the gate by 7 a.m., you're probably already late. For NAS Oceana and Dam Neck, you can avoid the major tunnels, but you pay the tourist tax. And what I mean by that is from Memorial Day to Labor Day, General Booth and London Bridge can feel like parking lots. In winter, it is 10 minutes or so to zip, down there. But in the summer, it's a 30-minute crawl. Ocean Lakes and Red Mill look perfect on a map, but summer traffic changes the whole experience. Now let's talk about the most underrated base for commuting, JEB Little Creek Fort Story. This one is special because it sits right on the Norfolk and Virginia Beach line. If you live in Bayside, Shore Drive, or parts of Great Neck, you can realistically have a 10 to 20-minute commute with 0 tunnels and very little highway. That can alleviate a lot of stress. This is one of the few bases where living near the water actually helps your commute instead of hurting it. But here's the trap people fall into. They assume they can live in Portsmouth or Suffolk and just cross over. That puts you straight into the Midtown or Downtown Tunnel every single morning, and you've just turned one of the easiest spaces into one of the worst commutes. Here's a local secret. Little Creek gate traffic is the opposite of Norfolk. There's no massive interstate backup, but the last half mile to the gate stacks hard between 6:30 and 7:30. If you live close, you win. If you come from a tunnel, you lose twice. Here's my Start Smart rule. Do the Waze test. Before you sign a lease or make an offer, open your traffic app at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday. Plug in the house address and your specific base gate. Not the base, the gate. That one move alone saves people months of regret. Now here's where the real strategy comes in, because sometimes the best commute isn't the shortest one on the map. I recently worked with a Coast Guard family PCSing to the Coast Guard base in Portsmouth. They initially started their search in neighborhoods that require crossing either the downtown tunnel or the midtown tunnel every single day. On paper, the homes looked close, affordable. In real life, they were signing up for tolls, stress, and unpredictable delays. When we crunched all the numbers, they were looking at nearly $6 a day just in tolls. That's over $100 a month, literally disappearing into the pavement. And that doesn't even count gas or wear and tear on the car. So instead of forcing them into tunnel life, we pivoted their entire strategy into a different micro market, Smithfield, Virginia. They ended up purchasing a stunning new construction home in the neighborhood with a community pool, walking trails, and a true small town feel. For the husband, the commute to the Coast Guard base became a beautiful scenic drive down Route 17 and Route 10 with absolutely no tolls, no tunnels, no bridges, no chaos. For the wife, who was a nurse, we also solved a career problem. We found a location with a major hospital just minutes away, which made her shift changes simple and predictable. When we ran the numbers, they were saving about $8 a day in tolls and gas compared to their original plan. Over a 3-year set of orders that came out to nearly $9,000 back into their pockets. They got a brand new house, they got the community pool, they got easy hospital access for her, and they got a stress-free drive for him. That's the power of choosing the micro market instead of blindly following the map. Now let's answer real questions military families are asking me every single day. Can I live in Virginia Beach and work at Naval Station Norfolk? Yes, but only if you choose the right micro market. Kempsville and Central Virginia Beach are usually manageable 20 to 30-minute commutes. Oceanfront, Sandbridge, and Pungo push that into a 45 to 60 minutes. Most families say the lifestyle makes it worth it, but only if they mentally accept the drive. How much should I budget for in tolls? If you rely on the midtown or downtown tunnels daily, you can easily spend $120 to $150 per month just on tolls. That's not gas. That's not parking. That's just paying to sit in traffic. Is the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel really that bad? It's worse than you think. A 15-mile commute can become 90 minutes within one minor accident. If your life requires daily HRBT crossings, your quality of life becomes traffic dependent. How early do I really need to leave to get through the gate? Well, your GPS lies. GPS tells you when you arrive at the gate, not when you get to your desk. At Norfolk and Oceana, you need to add 15 to 20 minutes for the gate crawl during peak hours. Does summer traffic actually change where I should buy a house? Yes. Tourist season doesn't just affect the beach, it changes everything. Ocean lakes and Red Mill feel easy in the winter, but becomes bottlenecks in the summer. Some families intentionally live further inland just to avoid seasonal chaos. Are there secret backways into the bases? Absolutely. One of them is London Bridge Road for Oceana. Sometimes you might get lucky with Sandbridge Road for Dam Neck. Certain Norfolk routes into Little Creek, and locals know, newcomers learn the hard way. Should I rely on the Tide light rail or bus system? No. Hampton Roads is a car-dependent area. The Tide does not serve the major bases or beach areas effectively. Your housing decision must assume daily driving. So let's bring this home. If you're PCSing to Naval Station Norfolk, your reality is Spaghetti Junction and gate traffic. Your micro-market choice determines whether that's a 25-minute commute or daily 45-minute grind. If you're headed to NAS, Oceana, or Dam Neck, you avoid the big tunnels, but you pay the tourist tax. And winter is easier. Summer traffic on General Booth and Linden Bridge changes everything. If you're stationed at JEB Little Creek, you actually have one of the best commutes in Hampton Roads. If you stay in Bayside, Shore Drive, or Great Neck area, and avoid forcing yourself into a tunnel. And if your orders take you to Portsmouth, the smartest move might not be the closest neighborhood on the map. It might be a strategic micro market like Smithfield, where you skip the tolls, save real money, and gain back quality of life. Layer all that with the golden rule. Live on the same side of the water where you work. And always run the Waze test at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday before you sign anything. Because in the Hampton Roads area, distance lies, but commute never does. Look below in the description to book a Zoom call with me. We'll pull up your exact command, your exact gate, and I'll personally walk you through the real-life routes, tunnels, and micro markets that make or break your day before you ever sign a contract. Welcome home. This is Real Life Virginia Beach.